So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Oh, welcome back to another video. In our last video, it was such an emotional one, as it should be, because we're all human first, right? So in today's video, it's not an extension of the other one, but it's just a conversation that I would like us to have sequel to that first video. It was born from the situation and the facts that emerged in the previous video with Edochie. And to perfectly comprehend this topic, we're going to have three amazing ladies on our plate that we're going to use as sort of a case study. Not because we are trying to, make mockery of any one of them, not because what they have been through, a lot of other women haven't been through it or are not presently going through it, but by virtue of their position as public figures and the facts of their case is out there in the public space. I think it would be more relatable for us to use them as examples. So first we have the case of Annie Idibia, formerly Annie Macaulay, the beautiful wife of legend Two-Face Idibia. We all know what happened with her and that love story, how she met and started dating Two-Face back from the early years, back from tender years. I think she was even a teenager when they started dating, and through their relationship there has been so much drama. How Two-Face had 5 other children from 2 other women aside from the ones that he has with her, and the whole emotional toll it has taken on Annie. And talking about 5 children outside the relationship he had with her, let us not forget that there might be so many other relationships that didn't bear children, right? That we didn't get to hear of. So many other battles, so many other heartbreaks and betrayals that may have happened that didn't even come to public space. This one was very apparent because children were involved. Well, Annie stayed with her man, and somehow we got to see the toll, the effect that it had on her mentally, psychologically, and otherwise.
Don't move this car. Park this car. I'm going right now on Instagram Live. I'm going now. I'm done. I'm done.
Right now, there are so many words going out there on Annie and her mental health and everything that is happening, but I will not talk about that so much now because it is still allegedly until I have so much facts for us to discuss the effects of embracing some kinds of lifestyle, the toll it may have on one in the long run. So that's Annie's case. Then of course we have the beautiful Chioma Adeleke now. We knew all the drama that also happened and how she remained with the man. They're happily married now, happily by God's grace, and the man is taking the commitment to be a better person, and we're seeing a lot of progress, at least so far since they got married. There hasn't been any scandals, there hasn't been any baby drama yet, hoping that it stays that way forever, and we're happy for them. So on the second leg is the case of Chioma Roland, right? We're going to get there. And thirdly, we have Edochie, who we discussed about in our last video, how she left, what her man did after 20 years of marriage, and this concubine that he has been having an affair with, and the whole years of, oh, baby, it's not true, baby, she's nobody, baby, I'm going to work and I see text messages of, oh, you did well in the hotel, I miss you, when are you coming to see me in Enugu? Those years of problems that eventually accumulated to, okay, she's my wife, accept her. And the lady left when things got really messy. So these are 3 ladies that have been in similar situations, and 3 of them had 3 different outputs, 3 different results, 3 different reactions to their situation. Although I might not really classify May's situation as Chioma and Annie, because yes, these men did what they did, but from their behavior, they tried to reassure those women, they tried to make up for what they did, they tried to make an amend. They didn't come to the woman and say, so what, I'm an African man, accept the child, I want to marry all of them at the same time. They still tried to find a way to, even if they were messing up, they still tried to find a way to make the woman feel good, like give her hope, give her courage. Or like use case that he wanted to force a union that was not planned on his wife. So that's different. But talking about, we're going to get to Chioma and Annie in one of the points that we're going to discuss. But first, we're going to dwell on May. Now, the difference between these three women is one thing: a choice. I keep talking about a choice, and it's as simple as it sounds. I would never ever bash any woman for choosing to put up with some things that I personally may not be able to put up with, because as I always believe, I'm not the world's best standard. Due to my background, my train of thoughts, my training, my personality, different things can make up for the decisions that I will choose to make for myself. Same applies to you. So what might be intolerable to me might be manageable or even acceptable to another woman. So I would never judge any woman for choosing to put up in a situation that I am incapable of putting up with. So also would I never, and we should never, choose to judge a woman for choosing not to put up with something that you believe that you can put up with. If you can put up with a drunk, or maybe if you can put up with a pedophile. Some women put up with pedophiles. They would even blame their daughters for their husband's sexual advances on them. Yes, some people put up with women beaters. Some people put up with all kinds of things. Now that is you. That's your belief. That's your choice. You cannot then use yourself as a standard and say, oh, she's very silly for living. You don't live with the woman. You don't know what she's saying. You don't know what her eyes are saying. So these three women found themselves in situations, and three of them made choices. And I'm going to address that point later on in this video. Stay glued and look out for that address. And if I haven't mentioned, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. But what I want us to address first is that ability to make a choice. There's some factors that makes it easier or possible to make a choice, and there's some others which its existence makes it almost impossible or more difficult to be able to take a stand in life generally. And one of the things that can put you in a bad situation, in a fix, that will make you unable to make clear choices for yourself in accordance to how you really feel about a situation, is one, financial constraints. When you have put yourself in a position where you are totally financially handicapped. We're going to be talking heart to heart today, sis to sis, girl to girl, man to woman if you want to. Now, I came across this post on Instagram today while I was researching for some content I wanted to shoot. It's a post by a man, not just any man, a Muslim man, who are typically very conservative when it comes to these kinds of ideas. The man said, Shamsidin Giwa, he said, marriage is beautiful and it needs sacrifices, but understand, a good marriage will grow you, not halt you. A good spouse will support your growth, not stop it. If you stop your own development, someday your spouse will find you less appealing for that very reason. This is the tale of many wives who married and stopped schooling, resigned work, stopped networking, all for marriage, only for their husbands to marry wealthy, educated career women for their independence. This level of betrayal and hurt you do not want to experience. So imagine putting your whole life on hold because of my husband said so, only for that same husband to start to find you not within his reach anymore and go for exactly that person that you would have been if you were not stopped. You see, there's some things that happen that we put up with and we convince ourselves that it's okay for us. Not really because it's okay for us, but because we do not have a choice but to make it okay for us. You cannot tell whether you are really okay or whether you are hungry. You do not even know whether you are really in a marriage or whether you are in a poverty relief program. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm going to be very blunt here. Why do you think a lot of men that end up abusing their wives, a lot of abusive spouses would always advocate that you don't work, that they'll take care of you at the beginning? It's because these abusive spouses know that the more you are financially crippled, the more abuse is likely to thrive. I'm not saying that women who are financially independent do not face abuse, but the likelihood of remaining in abuse or being abused at all, or tolerating abuse is heightened when there is no option, when there is no financial ability to assist yourself out of that abuse. When your next meal is not guaranteed, or your children's school fees cannot be paid if not that person abusing you, then you now see it as a sacrifice. I'm staying for my children. And although some of these abusers do not care, but many of them do understand that when a woman has the ability to fend for herself and fend for her children, when she has the option of still living a good and decent life outside of them, they are more mindful, because they know living is an option for these women. Unlike the ones that are completely handicapped, these men know that they are the Lord and personal saviors of that woman, and they know that the woman cannot survive without them. It breeds abuse. Some people are very quick to just discard everything they have. Yes, there are times in the marriage where sacrifice has to come in. I'm not disputing that at all. I am very pro-marriage. But what I'm saying is, to the best that you can, not discard. Please don't just discard your career and your life just because of marriage. To the best that you can, make it coexist. Please do. For example, I'll give you a story of myself. This Edochie thing is making me tell you guys a lot of background story of myself, which I typically will not share here, right? When I just started working at the bank, I was new at the bank, of course. It was banking and marriage that brought me to Port Harcourt. So as I was getting the job, I was also getting married. And immediately I got married, I got pregnant, and I was in marketing. So imagine me coming to River State. I've never been there before. I don't know anywhere. I didn't know anywhere. And I'm sent to do marketing. Where do I go to get money, to meet my targets, to get accounts, to book loans? I just didn't know where to start from. So I was doing it. I would go out, go for marketing with my pregnancy. At first, I started with following my colleagues out for their calls. But, these people are already in the bank. They have specific calls they take. Me, I don't know anywhere. I don't know where to go to. I'll just follow them in the car. Then at the end of the day, when they're giving their reports, they report what they did, while me, the follow, will not report any account I brought or anything. So I knew that I had to step out of the pool car and go shop to shop and do marketing. So with my big pregnancies, I always have very, very big children. My legs swollen to this level, my big arm matching like this. You see, everybody has their story to success. Some people will sit down there and think that, oh, success just fell on your lap. But business is because you were fortunate. Everybody has the sacrifices and what they had to go through to be able to attain everything they attained in life. So yes, I'll go for my marketing. There was this particular day, I was at Obunabali in Port Harcourt, and I wanted to go from one place to another, and because of how heavy I was, I couldn't walk. I would have typically walked. I couldn't walk because I was very heavy, so I stopped the taxi. In Port Harcourt, if you live in Port Harcourt, you know this crazy stuff that happens, that 2 people sit in front in the taxi while 3 sits at the back. So you can imagine how small that front seat is. 2 people will be squashed there. I wouldn't have entered there if it was a long distance, but because I was just going somewhere ahead, I chose to just manage. After all, I will soon come down. So immediately I came in, the guy in the front with me went in, so I was sitting by the window. He put his hand over me like this. Immediately I shut the door and the driver started going, because the driver was going. Immediately I shut the door. This guy went to fix his hand at the window, dipped it somewhere inside there, and made it look as though I had smashed his hand with the door. So this guy was crying, he was shouting. As he was shouting, I was like, Jesus Christ. My bag was on my thighs. I was very heavy. And I was trying to open the door to, get his hands to get his hands out. And I was yelling at the driver, stop this car, this man. And anytime I turned to the driver to talk to the driver, the man would hear, remember we're 2 in front, would start screaming and yelling, help me, yeah. So I would turn to this way and, try to open. I've never seen such a thing before. So I didn't know that while I was trying to open the door, these guys were robbing me, taking my phones, my money and everything. They didn't even care that this is a heavily pregnant woman. So when they were done robbing me, when they were done taking everything, they packed and the driver came out and opened the door from the outside. And immediately he opened the door. Before I could say, are you okay? Are you okay? They zoomed off. And that was when it now occurred to me. I was like, which kind of movie, which kind of film just happened for here? And there were people at the back. In fact, there was a woman with baby at the back too, shouting, Jesus, Jesus, this man's hands don't cut, oh, help him, help him. I was busy trying to help. You understand? With the anxiety, this thing happened it happened so fast. In less than 20, 30 seconds, they had already done their thing. In fact, at the point, I started thanking God that I didn't even catch them. Because if I did, I would have been thinking that it was just that guy in front that was a thief. And maybe I would have raised the alarm. I wouldn't have known that every other person in the vehicle, in the cab, were all thieves, were all robbers. So I would have raised the alarm and maybe they would have pushed me down with my big tummy. So that was what happened. When I came home, I told my husband, and he wanted to, like, are you sure you wouldn't just quit this job? But I had to convince him. I said, things would happen. That does not mean that I would then change the course of my whole life. So what we then did, because then I hadn't started driving, I told myself that when I have the baby, I'll go and learn how to drive. I hadn't learned how to drive then. But because of that incident, we then agreed that I was gonna go learn how to drive with the pregnancy. So that's how I learned how to drive, and I now started driving. So the reason for telling you this story is, we women, at any small inconvenience, we are ready to sacrifice our career. My boss shouted at me, you call your husband, say, leave the job, you gonna write to the. My boss kept me late at night. My boss look at my skirt. My boss like me. My boss did this. You don't manage the situation, you just give up your whole life, you give up your whole career. That man that told you to leave your job, he faces challenges too at the office and he manages it. But we are ready to throw away all our destiny just at the slightest inconvenience, even when it has not become a serious problem, like the marriage is about to break because of that job. No, it hasn't even gotten to that. It's just a matter of my husband said leave job, and immediately you run and drop a resignation letter, and he tells you, don't worry, I'll be paying you salary. After 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, the salary stops and you start regretting. Let us be very careful how we just make irrational sacrifices. At that point, it was very easy for me to quit my job because then I didn't have any child. My husband was working and he had a very good job. He could care for me. If I wasn't thinking long term, I would have just, resigned because of one single incident. Say, I'll just resign. Even when I had the baby, because I got pregnant immediately after I joined the bank, so I wasn't a confirmed staff when I had the baby. So because of that, I wasn't entitled to maternity leave. They just gave me a few weeks of leave of absence. So I had to go back to work pretty early when the baby was just about 2 months. I wasn't even healed then, but I still had to go back. I went back to work because I would not lose my financial strength. I will not lose my financial independence. And we rough farm. I came out of it stronger. I had my 3 children as a banker in the toughest bank to work with in Nigeria. If you know the bank, drop in the comment section. The toughest bank to work with in Nigeria. I was carrying that pregnancy, having children, and doing my job. And because of that, my stay in the bank and how I performed at the bank, it now gave me a leverage. It now gave me an opportunity where I now got a better job that puts me in a managerial position. And it was from there I now resigned and came to Canada. So just imagine I just throw away everything and give up everything just at the slightest mention of, baby, quit your job. You understand? Yes, situations might differ for other people, but all I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to give you a one shoe fits all, one size fits all. I'm trying to tell you that if you can, hold on, don't give up on your source of living. Even me that has a good, kind and supportive spouse, I still understood the importance of still having my own, of still holding my own, of still having my thing, of still being valuable and bringing value, of still being financially independent. Don't throw away your independence like this for nothing. Be very careful. This May lady was able to survive this catastrophe that befell her because of she could stand on her own, because she is financially independent. Just imagine a situation whereby she is good food, she can't help herself, she can't eat a square meal on her own. What will she do? She will stay there now. Even if the man kills her, even if she's dying of depression, she's going extinct with pain, she won't have any choice, because divorce is not just about whether the law is for you. The law can be for you, but are the economics in your favor? So it's not just about knowing the law of divorce. Can your situation support and manage divorce? So let us be very careful as women with how we throw away financial independence all because of marriage. With financial independence brings security. It brings value and respect. And it also brings personal fulfillment. You don't know what tomorrow will be. 10 years ago, a man that had a wife that doesn't have a job, he could still manage, they could still survive. But look at Nigeria economy now. Don't you know that a man would rather marry or value a woman that can bring her own 200,000 or 100,000 and assist? It's not everybody that will marry Ned Woko or Dangote now. A lot of men are also struggling to make ends meet. So just imagine they have a wife that can add value for them. Such a man, even to lose yourself, he will think twice before he messes up with you because you're adding value. So let us please take note of that point, especially as May Edochie in her case has revealed to us. Secondly, support system. I've watched that lady and I have seen her web of support from her husband's family to her own family to her friends, even the husband's colleagues. Hey God, this life. Would you believe that she's in better standing? She has a better relationship with her husband's colleagues in the entertainment and movie industry than her own husband, that is the member of the industry, has. And it is these webs of connections, this support system, that has helped her to be able to survive. Inviting her for talk shows, giving her brand ambassadorial deals, pushing her up there. Your circle, as they say, your network is your net worth. Some of us, we women, get married and I don't even know what comes over us. Immediately we run to Facebook, we change our name to Mrs. Okafor. You wear the biggest wedding ring, the gold on your ring is like what's a bookie constructed. I am married. You discard your single friends, you cut people off anyhow, you look down on divorced people as if they are second-class citizens, as if you are better than them. You scatter relationships anyhow. Any small thing, I cut you off, lele. Lele, see who they cut person off. You have problem with everybody, you might be the problem. Let me tell you something. Your social network, human beings are your social currency. Don't be poor. Do you understand me? Human beings are social currencies. Don't render yourself poor in the name of marriage. Do not alienate and isolate yourself from meaningful relationships, meaningful associations. Emphasis on meaningful. You are married, you are iyawo, you distance yourself from everybody. And all I care about is my husband and my children. It's good though. It's good to care about your husband and your children. Me, myself, I'm pro my husband and my children, but that does not mean that I don't understand the value of people. And when you chase all your support systems, some people, their husbands will even cut them off from their own family. This one, I don't like this friend. I don't like this one. I don't like this, your sister. You don't know that a man that has a problem with people that can support you is a man that is prone to abusing you, because he doesn't want anybody to see or to hear what he's doing to you or what he's about to do to you. And the first thing they do is to alienate you, to isolate you. And you don't even think with your own head. Once you marry, you don't think with your head again. It's just your husband's brain that you have. No sense. So you succeed in letting him alienate you. When he read, you say that you don't have any hands to hold. But look at this May Edochie. She still has a circle of people that are still keeping her sane. People that are holding her hand through the storm. You need people. You are married does not mean it's only your spouse you need. Your spouse might be your most important relationship, but there are still other relationships that are good to be kept. Your relationship with your family, your relationship with decent friends, your relationship with your colleagues, even your husband's colleagues. You don't have to fight everybody and suspect everybody and scatter everything and you become the witch. By the time that person you're holding on to shows you shege banza, you see that there's no other person in your life. Please, let us learn from this and ensure that in and outside marriage, we have built a support system for ourselves. Because as I keep telling you guys, life can deal you a hard blow that you didn't see coming. 3, shame. Shame. The shame of what people would say is the biggest invisible chain ever in human history. That's restraint of doing something because of how people will laugh at you, what people will say, what people will think of you, how they will perceive you. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody gives a shit about you. When you understand how fickle, how temporal life is, you would understand that you need to live for you. This crazy mindset has kept women and people in general in places that have killed them. Look at our darling sister Osinachi. Perhaps if she wasn't thinking of how her church members will see her, hey, gospel minister, we divorce, hey. No. People we say, we find ourselves in bad places that are not good for us. Gives a shit. You die, you are forgotten so fast. The other day I was watching a meme and there was this lady that was crying. I think it was someone's funeral. She was crying at the gravesite, as if God just buried me. they just showed the after with the same clothes, the same venue. This lady was eating rice and moi moi with coke on top. They say, you get married, put moi moi on top burial rice to wasaya coke. So what am I trying to tell you? Life would move on. Do you? The world would adjust. Do not stay in a place that is not good for you. If you want to stay there because it is tolerable, you can manage it, by all means stay. But if your only rationale for staying is because of what people will say, then you are doing a great disservice to yourself. If this lady had continued staying, this May Edochie lady had continued staying because of, hey, what my neighbor will say, what my church members will say, my family, my step siblings will laugh at me, my colleagues, hey, federal government college alumni group, oh, hey, they will say I'm divorced. Oh. And if she had kept staying, how would she have discovered this new path and potential that God has for her? Stay because you want to stay, because it's still okay to stay. Not stay because of what the world would say. And that's even a general advice. It's a burden too heavy to bear. The burden of constantly living under or living for validation of people. Are you aware that there is nothing in this world that you would do that everybody would be in uniformity, in uniform agreement with? Even Christ, as holy as he was still condemned. It's not everybody that loved him. It's not everybody that agreed with him. People still spoke about him. The same crowd that put their clothes for him to march into Jerusalem on were the same crowd that screamed, crucify him a few days after. So in life, there will be people that will put their clothes for you to walk, there are people that will shout, crucify him. Do not make your life's decision based on those people that are shouting, crucify him. Naysayers would always exist, but nobody matters in your life as much as you. So think you first and do what is best for you. Because those people you are thinking of, you are considering, they would move on fast if you remain there and something happens to you. So that's another point that can be taken from this story. You know, if this lady was looking at shame, societal validation, societal pressure, even her father-in-law, despite how much he loves her, is not happy with her for leaving. He still wanted her in the family. So there was a lot of no, don't go, stay, pray for him. Even if all her children are dying there, stay there, pray for him. She chose to be blind to shame, and she chose to do what is best for herself and her life and her children. Choose you. The next point that we need to talk about is the fact that despite we all hope and wish that our spouses are our soulmates and the best things that can ever happen to us, from this story, it's obvious to see that some spouses are actually the weapon formed and fashioned against you. Are you aware? Some of us are actually married to our destiny killers, our destiny destroyers, and it cuts across both genders. There are some men that will be married to a woman they can't save, they can't have peace, because the woman she's not calculated. She's too materialistic. She doesn't think futuristic. Any money you give her she can't manage it. She's not a good manager. She's not a good financial planner. She's not a good mother. It's not every woman that is a good mother. She can't take care of the children. She can't take care of her husband. She can't take care of her home. So what this woman does is to drain. She leaves you in a worse place than she met you. Let us not be under the impression that every woman is a good woman and it's only men that they are bad men and good men. No, they are bad men, good men. They are bad men, good women. There's some women that will come into a man's life and that she will be the wreck. She would wreck him. She will be the end of him, the doom of him. And also vice versa. There's some men that will come into your life that thing that God has destined for you to be will never come to pass, because he will make sure he crushes it, and you will leave this earth unfulfilled without purpose. Everybody has purpose. So looking at this lady, May Edochie, who would have known that she had all of this potential buried? It was as though that man was the weapon formed against her. You know, sometimes bad things happen to us for good things to happen. But at that point when the bad things are happening, you wouldn't know that it's just a passage, that God has a plan for something better for us. If that hurt did not come to her, would she have known that she had all of these things in her? So it's important for us to watch and pray. Matthew 26 verse 41. Watch and pray. Be observant. Identify the signs. Many times the signs are there. It is only in few cases that you see a man that is very desperate to marry this girl that he would hide everything, hide the demon that he is. Most times it's we women that hide our true character until marriage. Not true or not lie. Most times it is we women that hide our character because we want to marry. Most times these men show us who they are. Even by holding, a man is not as sneaky and tricky as a woman, generally speaking. A woman can have something in her mind 20 years. She'll be living with you, laughing with you, sleeping with you, cooking for you until she strikes like a scorpion. You'll be like, what? So you had this thing, you carried it. But a man, as they hot, as they red, you will know his intentions. They hardly conceal. And even when they try to conceal, they do a bad job at it, unlike we women. A woman can cheat on a man. 5-10 years, the man will not know. But men, it's easy to catch them. So what I'm trying to tell you is that many times these signs are there when we are dating these men. But we turn a blind eyes, we ignore them. Then when we come into marriage, we start crying. Who has marriage ever changed? Marriage does not change anybody now. It's just one day of wedding. The wedding is just a single day event. The next day is the same human being that wakes up. There's no place where they go and remove garments of singlehood and hang it and wear the one of marriage. It's the same individual. If you're a smart woman, if you're not the kind of woman that makes men call women fish brains, if you're a smart woman with sense in your brain, by holding a conversation with a guy 1, 2, 3 times, being around a guy, you will know exactly who that guy is by his ideologies, by his reactions, even the conscious reactions and the subconscious reactions. You will tell by his take on social issues. Baby, what do you think about this man? See the way he stabs his woman. See this women, they know the hear word. Sometimes hand need touch them before their head will correct. Mogbe. Revelation by God Almighty. Holy Ghost has ministered to me. Is that not sign enough? But we'll still enter and marry. Let us be careful. And another thing we need to be careful about in this part is the foundation, the kind of foundations that we set in our marriage. Anything that we cannot continue, anything that we cannot cope with, anything that we cannot deal, do not start it. Because some of us are the ones that set the foundation for our destinies to be destroyed. Are you aware? I did a video on my other channel, Nezeville. There's a lot of educative content there on marriage, parenting, different things. And I was talking about how we should raise the male child. And someone dropped in the comment section, Neze, some people, their mother will raise them. When they're married, the man will change. I saw it, I pinched myself. I said, if a woman has raised her son to be domesticated and he enters a marriage with you and he cannot pick pin, lady, it is your fault. It is not his mother's fault. His mother has done her best. It's when he entered the marriage and he started exhibiting some signs, and you were tolerating it and you were accepting it. He comes back from work, he pulls his trouser or pants or boxers, he throws it on the floor. He's not going to say, oh no. That's what they do for here. Baby, pick your trouser now. Hang your trouser now. It's not good now. You go, you pick his pants, you finish eating, you pour rice everywhere. You go. You are setting the foundation. That's the foundation of the marriage you are setting. Comes back from work. Instead of you to get busy with your life, every day you are in the market buying fresh ugu, fresh oha. I'm not saying it's not good. Cook for your man, but if you set that precedent of this man must eat fresh food every evening, if in the next 5 years, 10 years, maybe you are busy or you have children, you have a job and it's not possible for you again to be buying fresh oha every day, and that man starts complaining, no, I must eat fresh. Whose fault is it? That was how you trained the man in the marriage. So nothing is good, nothing is bad. What I'm saying is stick with whatever precedent you start with, because that will be the trajectory of the marriage. So now you have turned to a full-blown everyday oha maker and you start crying, stress, this. How can you cry? You can't complain later on in the marriage because that's the destiny you have set for yourself in that marriage. Whatever you cannot continue, don't start. Whatever you cannot sustain, whatever is not sustainable, don't start. With love and respect, set the boundaries, set the trajectory of how your marriage should follow. And lastly, your choice. When some people reach out to me and say this thing happened, divorce, I can never tell anybody go and divorce anybody. Any person that is fed up and knows that he or she cannot cope in a situation will be asking for a lawyer to initiate the divorce, will not be asking somebody to give her opinion or give him opinion whether or not he should divorce. When you know, you go tell for your body. Nobody can advise anybody to divorce. So you can look for who to put the blame on and say, this is the person that told me to go and divorce. No. So what I'm trying to tell you is that everybody's threshold for situations differ. We're all different human beings. We have our abilities to cope. Some can cope better than others. Some can take more than others. What can this person can withstand? This person might take it and break. Are you aware? So choosing to stay or leave a particular situation or marriage is a matter of choice. It's a matter of threshold. It's a matter of your peculiar situation. What can you absolve? There's some women that if they have a man that is misbehaving, cheating, going out, just gallivanting, their heart is obiakbo, wooden hearts. There's some women that have wooden hearts, especially if they have children. They would bury you alive and forget that you exist. Have you seen such women? You'll be alive, but they will bury you alive. They will turn themselves to a widow and emotionally shut down that such a man does not exist. They will face their children. If like come back by one, they would desert you physically and spiritually, and they can live their best life in that house with you while forgetting that you exist. But there's some women that they can't. They will be crying, seeing that thing, they cannot tolerate it. They can't bear it. So what can your mental health, what's your threshold? Annie Dibia, for example, she stayed, but I doubt if her mental health could take that situation that she put herself in.
Everything. I am going to scatter everything. Nobody knows the rest of an angry woman. I will ruin everything. Hello, Inobia family. This is Annie. Said that I was with my husband today. Peaceful, nothing happened. My husband told me he had a shoot today. Only for him to pack his things and his stupid cousin Frankie helped him plan it. His family does not love me. They hate me. They've been giving me hell for 10 fucking years. Today, my husband packed his things. He lied to me that he was going to shoot. But my husband is on his way to America. Planned by himself, FL Morebe and Frankie. All of this behind my back. I don't deserve this. I don't. I know this is not your business. But I can't call any member of his family. I can't even call his manager. He will not take my call. Because he thinks I'm the reason. He thinks I'm in his way. He thinks I'm in his fucking way. So FA would never take my call. He don't send this on his way to America without telling me. Without fucking telling me. Without telling me. He's going to seek Pero in America. And his other kids, don't move this car. Pack this car. I'm going right now on Instagram Live. I'm going now. I'm done. I'm done.
Because there are a lot of stories going around now. There are news that are alleging that she started taking drugs to cope. That situation of continuous betrayal, perpetual heartache, it is alleged that it led her to drug use and mental bastardization. She's finished, psychologically and mentally messed up. Chioma, for example, Davido, is putting out the front as the kind of woman that can cope with such a thing. She's deaf and blind to naysayers, to public opinion, to news. She went off social media. She's just on her own lane with that man. It might work for her. She might be able to cope. Infidelity might not be a deal breaker for her. That is Chioma. That might not be Chineze. Someone like Chineze now, no matter the money that a man gives someone like Chineze, it might not matter if that man is putting his penis in every hole. You understand? Carry your community penis, come out for my front. Extreme luxury might not be my goal in life. I'm someone that I'm very content. When I was living in a 1-bedroom, I was content. When I was living in 2-bedroom, I was content. When I was living in duplex, I'm content. My happiness has not wavered. I do not see myself wishing that I have a yacht and I have a skyscraper. I value peace in my life. I'm not saying money is not important too, but I already knew, even as a young girl, that I'm not only going to marry a rich man, I'm going to be a rich woman. So money is not the priority for someone like Chineze. I love a peaceful, bonded home. But it might not be the same for someone like Chinasa. Nasa might prefer do whatever you want as long as I am flying in private jets. I'm getting Givenchy bags. Do what you want. So what is your threshold as a woman? May's story has shown us clearly that every person has that right of a choice. Nobody's forcing anybody to leave her husband for anything. But nobody should also be forced to stay with a husband that she cannot cope with the excesses in the marriage. It's about the choice. And this story has taught us that do not be afraid to make a choice. You know, our society has given us the impression that we do not have a choice, that you have to agree to whatever is thrown your way. Manage, keep quiet, accept, pray, stay there. But that's not true. God, in his infinite wisdom, has given us the power of choice. So if you choose to stay, if you choose to manage, if your heart can tolerate, if you can cope, it's good for you. But if you can't, it is still good for you. So let us know what you think down in the comment section on all these points that I have or we have spoken about, starting from the financial liberation Do you think it's okay for a woman to just extinguish her life, her career, her job, her source of living in the name of marriage? Do you think that it's a necessary sacrifice that has to be taken sometimes? Or do you think that it's a mistake? Have you done it before? Do you regret? Is it something you would advise your child, your daughter to do? Let's talk about the support system and this culture of women cutting people off and, doing, hey, all I need in this life of saying, it's me and my husband. Let's talk about support systems too, existing in marriage, outside the marriage. Let's also share our ideas on being married to a spouse who is a destiny killer. How do you deal with such a thing? Do you stay and manage, or do you leave? Share all your thoughts about everything we have discussed down in the comment section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. Don't also forget to join our African Folktale channel. Oh my god, our last folktale, it was a true life folktale. We're bringing a lot of spice. We're not just going to be telling you guys fictional stories. We're going to be narrating true life stories, African history, our cultural roots. So many things will go down in that channel. So if you're not subscribed there, don't forget to run there right now. I'm going to leave the link down below. Subscribe and enjoy our beautiful tales told by your one and only Nezeville in that way that I know you'll love it. Thank you once again, guys. It's me, your girl, Barrister Nessa, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye. Mwah.